All right, for today's video review, we're going to be taking a look at Transformers Titans Return Legends Class Seaspray. A very cool little figure here. Here he is in his hovercraft mode, obviously, and it looks pretty good. You know, there's a couple derivations from, the original G1 design, but for the most part, it gets the point across. Now, which is good because, honestly, this was the first and really only update of G1 Seaspray that we've ever really gotten. I mean, we did have the Hunt for the Decepticons version, which was kind of like more of a movie design, and that's a fun figure. But in terms of like having an updated G1 Seaspray, this is really kind of the only mold that does the job. And yeah, thankfully he is a pretty good little figure. I think we could still use an update, but he's pretty fun. Yeah, I like his hovercraft mode for the most part here. He's got little rotating propellers in the back here. They are 4-pronged propellers instead of 3-pronged like the original G1 one, but whatever. But yeah, it doesn't have any rolling wheels or anything like that. He does have a little flight stand port underneath there, but otherwise just kind of sits there, which is fine, I guess. He does come with this little weapon here, which I guess is supposed to be like a missile rack or something. I've never been totally clear on what this is supposed to be, but you can store it on alt mode just by pegging it onto the top here. It's got a tab right there, and then these two tabs go into the bits on his chest there, so you can have like the missile rack on the alt mode. And yeah, I've never really liked the way that looked. It's a shame that this can't like store the other way too, because the original G1 Seaspray actually did have like a little block up here, and this does kind of look like that. So but it would, to be more accurate to that, it would really store this way, and then it would help kind of cover up the sort of obvious robot mode head with the panel kind of sitting in front of it. So I don't know, I would have preferred if it had been able to go that way, or been able to be, like reversible, but whatever. I usually just leave this off to the side because I don't really love this accessory, but at least it does have a place to go that marginally blends in, because, I don't really like the way that it looks, but it doesn't look like there's a big stupid alien gun on top of a hovercraft. It looks like, something that would actually be on a hovercraft. So I do appreciate that, even if I don't, really like the way this was executed. But yeah, the other gimmick that he has in this mode, like all of the Titans Return Legends class figures, is that you can bring on a Prime Master here, or a Titan Master rather, and have him actually store inside the vehicle mode. You pretty much, for him, just do that by lifting up this propeller section like that, and then folding him up and just putting him in there, and then you can close that back up. This panel is way tighter than everything else, so you have to kind of, bring it back up afterwards. But yeah, that works. I mean, granted, it's like nowhere near to where the cockpit is on the figure, but it still works, all things considered. And luckily it's not really like all that obtrusive to the figure. You pretty much can just ignore it. Like if it didn't have that gimmick, there probably would have been a way to like flip the head around so it's stored in there, rather than just like hanging up here with a panel kind of peekabooing it. But for the most part, it works pretty well. But yeah, to get onto comparisons in this mode, here he is with Kingdom's Sideswipe. So you can see what it looks like with an average size deluxe there. And obviously, this does not scale at all, but whatever, again, that's the problem with the season 2 mini bots. And then here he is with G1 Seaspray, so you can see some of the differences there. Like these kind of stick up a lot more. He's got that block in the middle. He's got, the 3-pronged black propellers, but for the most part, I think that it still works pretty well. But yeah, to get onto transformation, first thing you want to do is you want to take this entire front section. It'll kind of untab from the side here, and then it'll double hinge down like this. And then take these side panels and you just rotate them to the back just like that. And then take this whole section and then rotate it up like that. Then you can take the arms here, untab them from the side, rotate them down just like that, and then take this whole block. I mean, you usually do it in 2 sections, but you can kind of do it all at once, where you take this section, rotate it down, it'll click into place, and then you bring this panel back down. And then luckily, since this kind of just floats there, you can fold that onto the chest. And there we have Seaspray in his robot mode. And yeah, he looks pretty good. He definitely is a little bit less, like dumpy and chubby than the original Seaspray, but still, I think that, he still kind of has that overall roundness, so it still works pretty well. I love the little head sculpt on there. I think they kind of nailed it with that. Obviously, you can bring the weapon back on here, and the middle central tab there, it can't actually plug onto his hand, but he does have these slots right above the handhole, so you can kind of hold it via that, so it's kind of like a, fake using the 5mm peg there. But yeah, that looks okay. And then the storage is supposed to be, you just plug it back on, just like it was before, to, I guess, make him a little bit chubbier. Again, I kind of prefer the look without it because, it's covering up some of that like chest detailing there, like these nice bits here. But, at least they kind of put some thought into like the way that that's supposed to work. It would have been nice if it had some other alternative way to store in the back here, but whatever. In terms of articulation, the head is on a swivel. Obviously, it's a little bit of a pain to actually like get to because it's surrounded by the propeller section, but the shoulders are on ball joints, which can rotate around like that and fold out to the side. The elbows are on ball joints, which gives him a bicep rotation, and then also like a degree over 90 degrees of bend at the elbow. Nothing at the waist. Just because of how it works for transformation, it kind of hinges into the body. The hips are on ball joints, which can go forward and back, and only about that far out to the side just because of how the sockets are shaped, unfortunately. He's got a thigh swivel. He's got a knee joint, which goes like 92 degrees or something like that. But the whole thing, the way that his legs look, I feel like from the front looks great, but from the side, it's a little bit silly looking. Like, I sort of wish that they had found some way to like compress the feet backwards a little bit, just because like he doesn't really have that many issues standing just because he has these huge heavy feet in front here, but they're not really like properly under his center of gravity. It's sort of like he juts out this side and juts out that side. So it would have been nice if these kind of like slid back a little bit in some way, but you can kind of like bend his knees a little bit to accommodate that. But if they ever did like a new deluxe version of this guy, I would hope that they would find some way to compress it back, because otherwise you probably could kind of mostly base it on the transformation of this guy and just do some extra things like flipping the head on the inside and maybe extending the propellers out a little bit or something like that, and then just having the feet slide back, because otherwise this guy pretty much gets the job done. We saw them do that with Beachcomber, how like the new deluxe version is basically just like an updated version of the Titans Return version, or Power of the Primes, whatever, the Prime Wars version of Beachcomber. But I would be totally satisfied if they did that with Seaspray as well, because I would like to have one that's a little bit, bigger to fit with the other deluxe scale mini bots that we've been getting. But for the most part, he still works pretty well. But yeah, you can also or I was going to say, he doesn't actually have any ankle tilt or anything like that, but he does have the like sculpted A stance slightly. So when you actually peg his feet together, there's like a slight dip there, like a slight bend, but it works pretty well. In terms of comparisons in this mode, just for the standard ones, here he is with Kingdom Sideswipe and Rat Trap. So you can see he's a little bit taller than like an average core class figure, but about that size. And then here he is again with G1 Seaspray, and I guess with a Titan Master for posterity's sake. But yeah, you can kind of see it's still pretty close to the original design there. And obviously, this guy looks a little bit more cartoon accurate than this guy did, but still, you can definitely see like the blues are a little bit different, though I think that this blue is more accurate to the cartoon. But for the most part, I think that they look pretty cool together. But yeah, that's pretty much all there is to say about Seaspray. I guess the only other thing worth mentioning is that he does have 5mm ports in the hand, so even though his own weapon doesn't use that, he can hold other 5mm peg weapons. But yeah, no, he's a fun little figure. Could still use an update, but for the most part, I'm pretty satisfied with this guy as is. But yeah, that's pretty much all there is to it. If you enjoy my videos, make sure to leave a like and consider subscribing to the channel. I do reviews every Tuesday, Thursday, and Sunday. And without further ado, here we have Transformers Titans Return Seaspray.